Hello, hello. I need to have thick eyebrows like this. Real thick. I remember one time at Walmart several years ago. I was walking through the store and that was before I started to trim my eyebrows. I trimmed my eyebrows a little bit now because people called me man with a wig and that hurt my feelings. And I'm not free from self. I haven't dissolved all the self images yet, you know. I'm not a bodhisattva or Buddha or monk or nun. I'm not a yogi. I'm just a regular person with self images. And then I started to be very insecure and I looked in the mirror and I thought, oh, okay, this here is a little bit like my uncle when it comes up here. So kind of like Spock from Star Trek Enterprise, like my uncle has. It goes like this up, just had it a little bit too high for for being girly. That was little bit too Spockish. So I had to trim that, and then I did a little bit here with the tweezers. This part here is still the same, but only here a little bit here to fan it out a little bit. So it looks a little bit more feminine, but yeah. No, I don't have a feminine. I don't have a very feminine or girly face, but I mean it's not. I don't look screamingly monstrous. So that I do not. People cannot accuse me of that. Okay, so yeah, I'm not. I'm for most people, I'm probably ugly or bad or whatever. But that should not affect me too much. As long as I feel okay about myself, I think that's what matters to all of us. If we can make ourselves, feel okay with the way we are, if we feel somewhat okay when we look in the mirror or into the video or the tablet, and if we can somewhat enjoy our lives the way it's possible, and if we can be in the flow of the now moment, then that is good. There's nothing wrong with feeling good about yourself. And if someone gets mad at me for liking myself, even though I do not look politically correct to most people, I do not look like Pamela Anderson, Angelina Jolie, or Marilyn Monroe. So sorry about that. Yeah, that is not. I didn't choose this. Yes, It wasn't really a choice. Maybe it was some kind of karmic choice of my soul to look like this. Maybe there was this some kind of tricky message behind it or something, that I'm not consciously aware of at this moment. But so, in general, I think I have a unique face. I can look pretty mean. My husband doesn't like my eyes because they can look pretty mean sometimes. And taken photos of myself when I was angry. I had to throw those photos out. That scared people when they looked at us. So yeah, I do have a lot of anger inside of me and some really hefty dreams and hefty nightmares about myself. But yeah, I'm dealing with it. And the most important thing is that we laugh about ourselves. Making a video, and that we do not take ourselves so super serious. And so that brings me to the subject I want to talk about. How can a man date an animal rights activist lady? So, or guy, if he likes guys. So, how do we do it? How do you do it? How do you do it if you are not one who, you know, thinks about these things and who cares and who, if you're not one of those people who put others before themselves, how do you date someone who puts others before himself or herself? How do you do it? What's the trick behind it to get someone like this into your life to actually come out of their house, walk down the street, take a taxi maybe, take an airplane or a helicopter and come to your house and come to your bed? How do you do this? That is the biggest question of the century, at least. So that's the biggest question of the last 50,000 years, probably. How do you do this? I guess 50,000 years ago, they just went in and raped. Okay. It A good relationship, though, didn't come out of that. So, how do you do it without raping, without forcing, without violence, without killing, probably afterwards, because you hate him so much? How, if everyone really wants intimacy and a real relationship, that's what every living being really wants at the core. They don't want to Allahu Akbar, kill you, stone you, and then not have you anymore to bang. That won't work. So it doesn't work in any kind of religious suppression or self-image type of elbowing or any kind of suppressive subduing of someone. That's not intimacy, that's force, that's tyranny, that's violence, it's dictatorship. So how do we do it? How do you do it to lure someone in and keep that person and make that person feel good and make that person feel safe? It's key word here. How do we feel safe? Okay. What do we need to feel safe with someone? We need to know that this person is not a speciesist, racist, misogynist, sexist, fascist, dictator, violent, and so on, or religious fanatic, or whatever. So that's how we feel safe. We need to know that other person is gonna like us back, is gonna be mellow, he's gonna be calm and nice and supportive, and not in any way forceful, not in any way rigid or dictational or bossy or drill sergeant or any of these things. So yeah, this is what I've been wanting to convey in my videos. This is what I have been trying to tell people in comments, the importance of breathing, letting go of the self-image, letting go of the bragging, I've seen it all, believe me. I have There are men from all walks of life who have approached me, which I find interesting because there's so many people tell me I'm ugly, but then sometimes this very same, I recognize them by the name, the same guys come back and, oh, I changed my mind. After all, you kind of hot, let me bang you. Uh, you just told me I am super ugly and old and disgusting looking. How come you change your mind all of a sudden? So, first of all, it's not a good idea to lash out and then later on change your mind. That's never going to work. So, that same woman that you just insulted a week ago is just not going to dig it. She is just not, she is, you can call her party spoiler. You can say, oh, she's just one of those people that cling to, I don't know the English word for this now, that cling to this, that are stuck to this, they can't forgive or something. Okay, whatever you want to call her, but yeah, it, even the most forgiving person, it will be in the back of their heads, and the relationship will be not as intimate as it could be, as connected. I'm not saying intimate in a sexual, intimate in a trusting way. Intimacy is trust, trusting the other living being, wanting, feeling good being with that person, liking this connection, mental and physical connection. It's just not going to be there if you insult that person and then later on decide you are turned on or whatever. After all, she has big boobs. Ha, maybe I can ignore the face, but the boobs are good. So, all of this is not intimate. All of this is not respect. All of this is very sexist and very misogynistic. Okay. All of this is very, you may not be aware of this. You may think this is perfectly normal behavior because you see all of your buddies talk like this and act like this as well. But to an intellectual woman, an animal rights activist in particular, a vegan lady, someone who writes books, someone who is educated, someone who is giving her all to make the world a better place, this behavior that you are portraying there is not going to lure that person in. Speaking from my own personal experience, and I know for sure that is the case for all other caring women out there, vegan women, they do not dig the hunter guy, the macho guy, the bragging guy. We see through this. We see your insecurity behind this. And it's not your insecurity that turns us off. It is your mask that turns us off. If you could show us your insecurity, we would like you. We would feel more intimate. We would feel much closer to you if you could show us a bit of your insecurity, a bit of your vulnerability. If you could laugh about yourself just for once, and if you could lean back and breathe deeply in and out and really, really let go and not be so afraid. We caring people, we animal rights activist women, and the men also, animal rights activist men, we do not judge people. We do not laugh about people. We do not bully people. So with us, you do not have to be putting up this facade of armor and self-protection and all of this. With us, you don't have to do it because we care. We care about all life, your cells of your body too, because I know your cells in your body, they do not want to hurt any living being, you know. Your body cells, your skin cells, they are not a hunter. It is the self-image making. Not even your brain cells are hunters. You really have to let this totally, you have to contemplate on this really, really for a long time. Your body cells and your brain cells, brain is part of your body, all of these cells, all of that connective tissue, all of the blood and the capillaries and the veins and arteries and all of that stuff that's in there, that's completely free from all that self-image making. So all of that is not violent. Okay, what's violent is the thoughts that you create, and also the thoughts that you pick up from other people, and the energy that comes along with those thoughts. The troll energy, the ego energy that you pick up from your parents, that you incorporate without questioning into yourself, and then you will become a copy of them, and you will try to make more copies of that in form of, yeah, having children and trying to drill that same copy of the same self-image and the same pride type of energy into your children and all of this. And that is a very, very destructive cycle. So that's why I make videos, to try to get this message across, to for people to start to reflect on this and to really think about it. Think about what you're doing. Think about that the very ladies that you like, and I see this on the internet all the time, you know, I see that the animal rights activist ladies, they do get really approached more often than the calloused ones without love, because men want a woman who cares. This is an evolution, who cares about their offspring. They don't want a woman who ends up neglecting and killing her offspring and your own offspring. So this is built into the structure of sexual attraction, actually, for men to want a woman who cares, who has a maternal instinct, who has a mother instinct, which is true love. That is true love. The mother instinct. It's just another word for true love. And that mother instinct carries over. You know, it doesn't stay with our own species or creed or religion or skin color or whatever, or, you know. No, true love doesn't have boundaries. If you have true love in you, true love ability, it's infinitely abundant. It spills over to all beings, to all life. Compassion is compassion. It's not Catholic compassion. It's not evangelical compassion or Buddhist compassion. It's just compassion. And that compassion is not human compassion or dog compassion or giraffe compassion. It's just compassion. And giraffes, dogs, humans, horses, all have there's persons in every species that have this true compassion. Okay, it's just called compassion. It's an energy. It can be developed by those brains. Okay. And I've been thinking about this for my whole life. Why does one brain develop this and another brain does not develop it? Is it genetic? You know, is there genetic difference in the structure of the brain. And Dr. Adrian Raine studied people, violent prisoners, put them through an fMRI, and he found there are indeed differences in the brain. The amygdala are atrophied in very violent criminals. Now my question is, were they always atrophied? Were they always less developed than other people? Or have they become atrophied because they were not used? That's the question now. Some Buddhists probably will lean into that direction, saying they have not been used, because there are Buddhists who have become neuroscientists and are now trying to track that down and trying to grasp this, what it really is, which came first, the chicken or the egg. What was there? Was it always atrophied, or did it become kind of shriveled later on because it was just not used? Use it or lose it in that sense. So I think it's both. I think that there are babies born who do not have the developed amygdala. So in either case, I cannot fabricate this. I cannot take out a magic wand and do pling and make the amygdala grow in people's brains. But what we can do is we can sow the seeds of compassion in the world. And that's what the Buddhists are doing. That's what a lot of teachers are doing. That's what a lot of yogis are doing. We try to sow the seeds of mindfulness, compassion, compassion practice, compassion meditation. That's all we can propose to the world. So do this, try this, because you and everyone else is living in this same matrix. Okay? You are not outside of the matrix that you pollute. Literally with poisons, with your lifestyle, and also with your thinking and with your interaction with other people. This is very, very important. So again, to the subject, how to date an animal rights activist lady. If you want her to like you and to trust you, then become a vegan. Sign her petitions. If it's mechanical in the beginning, then do it mechanically. Listen to her. Listen to what she has to teach you, and become more compassionate. And as you become more compassionate, you might train the amygdala. You might give blood flow to the amygdala and everything that is connected to a functioning compassion system in the brain. Then it will start growing. It will start expanding. I heard about research where they found out that compassion meditation has resulted in an increase, in a growth increase of that compassion center, the amygdala, the hippocampus, the prefrontal cortex. This combination, they work together with that. So also the mirror neurons in the brain. We mirror ourselves. In other people, we see someone is suffering. Someone with mirror neurons, with strong mirror neurons, will mirror himself in that person. That's where the word compassion comes from. Compassion, together, passion. I feel with you, together. I feel your predicament. I see you suffer. I feel you. I can I understand where you're coming from. I see your agony in whatever it is, you know. It could be something that's just a mental concept. Someone is suffering, but someone who will recognize this as suffering, they will have compassion in that moment and not judge that person. You know, not say, oh, you are sacrilegious or whatever people do, you know. But understand where that person is coming from. You know, and see that that person is obviously struggling with something. I'm not a Buddha, I already said that many times. I cannot understand people who hurt someone deliberately. That I cannot understand. But there are bodhisattvas and Buddhas who would probably, Thich Nhat Hanh is one of them, who have seen atrocities and who have been in war zones as peace activists and who have seen people do terrible things, and they were still compassionate for those people. They still felt compassion for them. They still saw them as struggling people, as lost, as not knowing better in that moment, you know, like being in the draw of egoic self-protection and so on, you know, unempowerment. Unempowerment is what is the driving force for people to hurt others, hurt animals or people. It's unempowerment. And there was a really nice study once, I think it was on PBS with Henry Rollins. I'm a huge fan of Henry Rollins. And Henry Rollins wanted to know whether he has the warrior genes. And he was disappointed when they said that he doesn't have the warrior genes. I could see he was very disappointed about this because he has developed a self-image of I am tough. So he thought the warrior genes are actually is what makes people tough, but he completely twisted it because he doesn't understand what it really is. And the word warrior genes is completely misleading, because a warrior is rather someone who is a bear mother or father, who goes out courageously and to defend. That's a warrior in that sense, you know. But the warrior genes, what it really is just someone who has a very violent nature. It's actually the opposite of being a bear mother or father. So it's someone who's rather a coward, who wants to think of himself as grand, and anyone who challenges that he meets with violence, and verbally or physically. So that's the warrior gene, and a lot of prisoners have that, and that's why they shouldn't call it warrior gene, because then people make that again into a self-image of something that they want, something that they're proud of. And I've seen people who actually talk like they're proud of having murdered people and stuff like this. You know. So that's very dangerous when something like this becomes automated, and a self-image of being violent becomes something that people identify with being tough, or with being self-protective, or being even with honor. In a lot of gangs, I think this image is the case. So if we can dissolve that, you know, if you can dissolve that, and if you can work on dissolving that, you will find a woman, you will get a caring woman. I guarantee you, if you can really dissolve it and really work on this. If you never hurt a living being again, if you go vegan, if you refuse to be a part of the murder domino effect in the world, then you will find a girlfriend who is gentle and caring and loving and nurturing. Okay, you guys take care. Bye bye.